have on the line jazz saxophonist Stephen Richard from Houston, Texas, who is an amazing composer and musician.
Thank you, Shannon. It's a pleasure. I'm a fan. So I just want you to know I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's what's up. You know, I put your CD on, and it's called Perspective that you sent me, and it reminds me of Saturday mornings when my mom and dad would get up and marinate meat for a barbecue, and they would turn the jazz on, and we would straighten up the house, and my pops would turn it up. He had a JBL system with a JVC amp, so he he used to get the whole neighborhood. They had to be on what we were listening to.
Man, you know, my memories growing up on my father's reel to reel. I don't know why he still had it in the house, because, you know, it was in his big cabinet, but he would pull it out, and I just remember, you know, and he used to blast so the neighbors knew what we were listening to in the house, you know. But he would blast his system, and then the record player at the time when I was a kid is where it really was at. But he would pull out the whole reel to reel and put those tapes on there, and I remember that sort of like the memories you have of music in your childhood.
Right. Now, as a child, did you play saxophone, or did you adapt that as you got older?
You know, growing up, when my first instrument, and my parents enrolled me in a music class was piano. So it was a classical piano program that I was in, and I took those lessons from the age of 5 to 10. So that was kind of like my introduction to just being introduced to an instrument.
Okay.
And when I got to middle school here in Houston or Texas, the way they normally do is when you make it to middle school, which starts at 6th grade, for us, it's like, okay, now we have bands. So you can decide what you want to do. Is it stringed instruments? Is it woodwinds? Is it brass? And I didn't have a say-so in that matter. My dad just happened to have a saxophone under the bed that he had bought from the guy he worked with, and I guess he had in his mind already, when this guy gets a certain age, he is going to play this horn. So when I made it to 6th grade, he just gave it to me. I didn't even know I was going to do it.
Wow, that is amazing. The gift within you, and how playing piano brought together melodies and education of harmonies and composition. What an amazing story.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, so I'm appreciative. You know, parents sort of see things ahead of time, and as young kids, you know, we don't know. We just kind of go along with it and want to rebel against it sometimes, but that shows the wisdom in listening to older ones, because, you know, they can see things that we can't.
Right. You know, when I was in elementary school, I played the flute. But now I'm a percussionist. I guess I just had more of a drummer personality as I got older. I got a little set of bongos, and it was just on. But playing flute helped me melodically, and when I'm in rehearsal, watching the singers get their parts down and the keyboardists and everyone, I have a much better understanding and can be more tender and more into the arrangement per se, being able to play off the different instruments and accents and dynamics and such.
Right. It does make a difference. And I think you kind of, since you dealt with that instrument, you kind of know what it is as far as that's concerned. But I think that's a benefit that you have. And sometimes people that, you know, may be percussionists or drummers, if they haven't played the other instruments, because you can definitely be melodic on those instruments. I don't know, some people think that you can't be melodic on a drum, but absolutely you can. But when you come from that understanding of actually playing a melodic instrument, and then you can transfer that to now your percussion or drum, that makes you even more of a problem on that instrument. Because you're hearing things other people wouldn't, you know?
You know what? You're right, and problem is an accolade and a truth at the same time, because you are hearing things and you want an accent, and the music director looks at you like, what are you doing? You're on a different sheet of music. You're like, nah, I'm really in there. You ain't there. Your album is a good, it's good for listening, it's good for dancing, it's good for driving. It's a good album for study. Now, is that intentional, or is that just you?
It's just me. It's definitely not intentional. I am not one of those people that can sit down and say, okay, this is what I'm going to write. I haven't even really ever tried to do that. Everything for me is strictly organic, and it just comes. I really can't sit down and just write a tune and say, okay, this is what it's going to be about. So the music that is on Perspective, it just came about, or maybe the tunes that I covered are some of my favorite tunes that I enjoy. Mm-hmm. So my record sort of ends up being a collage. You know, it's kind of all over the place because that's just the kind of music I like. You know, so I think like on Perspective, I have like an old Duke Ellington song, Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me, mm-hmm. but then right next to it is an Anthony Hamilton tune.
Oh, I love that rendition and arrangement.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's like, that's how my record collection is. I might be listening to this over here, then boom, I'm popping in this over here with totally different. And I think being that that's my influence just as far as a music fan, mm-hmm. then that's the way I construct, you know, my project.
Right, and you call that doing organic jazz.
Yeah, well, see, organic jazz, that's the other release that I did at the same time, which is the gallery session. Mm-hmm. And the gallery session, I call that organic jazz because we went in the studio and the guys didn't know why they were coming to the studio. I just said, hey, just meet me at the studio, but I trust these cats enough to know that if I want them to do something, I just give them the direction. And I trust their talent will get us there.
Right.
You know? So I don't like to get in people's way. I just, hey, let's do this over here. So I would give them like a sketch in the studio of what I wanted to do. And I just have the engineer Sinclair press record. And that's how all of those songs came together. We never rehearsed anything. They were just organic. And that's what I call that gallery sessions project, organic jazz, because it's from the soil. You know, it was no additives on that. It was nothing. We ain't put no pesticides on it. It was straight from the ground.